Hello, my friend. Before we begin, I want to ask you a simple question. When was the last time you truly enjoyed a quiet moment? Not a big success, not a life-changing event, just a small, simple moment. Maybe it was the sound of rain. Maybe it was a warm meal, or a short conversation with someone you love. In today's world, we are always running. Running after success, running after money, running after something bigger, better, faster. But in that endless race, we often forget something very important. The simple things. And here is the truth. Simple things are not small. They are the foundation of a meaningful life. In today's story, we will explore something that many people overlook. The true value of simple things. Take a deep breath. Slow down your thoughts. And let's begin. Part 1. Why we stop seeing simple things. There was a time in your life when simple things made you happy. As a child, you didn't need much. A small toy could bring you joy for hours. A sunny day felt like a gift. Even a piece of candy could make your whole day better. Life was simple. And because it was simple, it was beautiful. But as we grow older, something changes. We begin to expect more. More success, more recognition, more possessions. And slowly, we raise the standard of what we call happiness. What once felt special, now feels normal. What once made us smile, now feels insignificant. This is how we lose the ability to see simple things. Not because they disappear, but because our expectations grow too fast. Think about it. You have food every day. You have a place to sleep. You have access to knowledge, to people, to opportunities. But do you still feel grateful for these things? Or have they become invisible? Many people spend their lives chasing something bigger while ignoring what they already have. And here's the quiet irony. The more we chase, the less we feel. Because we are always looking forward, we forget to look around. We forget to notice the present moment. A peaceful morning, a calm evening, a moment of silence. These are not empty moments. They are life itself. But if we are not careful, we will only realize their value when they are gone. So the question is not, do simple things matter? The real question is, why did we stop noticing them? And more importantly, how can we learn to see them again? Part 2. The quiet power of small moments. Let me tell you a short story. Not a story about success. Not a story about fame. But a story about something very small. There was a man who lived a busy life. Every morning he rushed out of his house. Every night he came back tired. He worked hard. He earned money. He believed he was building a better future. But one day, something unusual happened. His young daughter stopped him at the door. She held his hand and said, "Dad, can you sit with me for 5 minutes?" He looked at his watch. He hesitated. 5 minutes. Didn't sound like much, but in his busy mind, It felt like too much. Still, he sat down. They didn't do anything special. They just talked. She told him about her day. She laughed at small things. She smiled. And for those 5 minutes, everything slowed down. No pressure, no deadlines, no worries. Just a simple moment. Years later, when his daughter grew up, that man forgot many things in life. He forgot some meetings. He forgot some numbers. He forgot many stressful days. But he never forgot those 5 minutes. Because that moment was real. This is the quiet power of simple things. They don't look important at first. They don't shine. They don't impress others. But they stay. They stay in your memory. They stay in your heart. They become part of who you are. Now think about your own life. How many small moments have you ignored? A conversation with a friend, a meal with your family, a quiet walk alone. These moments don't ask for much. They don't require money. They don't require status. They only ask for one thing: your attention. But attention is something we rarely give, because we are distracted. Phones, social media, constant noise. Even when we are with people, our minds are somewhere else. And when we are not present, even the most beautiful moment feels empty. That is why many people feel something is missing in their lives. Not because they lack big things, but because they miss small moments. Simple things are not powerful because they are big. They are powerful because they are real. And reality is always found in the present moment. So maybe we don't need more in life. Maybe we just need to notice more. Part 3. Why simple things create real happiness. Let's talk about happiness. Not the kind of happiness you see on social media. Not the kind that comes from big achievements. But real happiness. The kind that stays, even when life is quiet. Many people believe that happiness comes from big things. A better job, a bigger house, more money, more success. And yes, these things can make you feel good. But only for a short time, because the human mind adapts very quickly. Today, something feels exciting. Tomorrow, it feels normal. This is how our brain works. We always want more. And because of that, we are never fully satisfied. This is why people keep chasing. They think, if I just achieve one more thing, I will be happy. But that moment rarely comes, because happiness built on big things is unstable. It depends on conditions. If things go well, you feel good. If things go wrong, you feel lost. But simple things are different. They don't depend on success. They don't depend on status. They don't depend on comparison. They exist all the time. A deep breath, a quiet morning, a kind word. These things are always available. And when you learn to appreciate them, your happiness becomes stable. It no longer depends on the outside world. It comes from within. Let me explain this in a simple way. Imagine two people. The first person is always chasing big achievements. He feels happy only when he wins. The second person finds joy in small moments. A good cup of coffee, a peaceful walk, a meaningful conversation. Now ask yourself, who will feel happier in the long run? The first person may feel strong excitement, but it comes and goes. The second person feels calm joy, and it stays. This is the difference between pleasure and peace. Pleasure is loud, it is fast, it is temporary. Peace is quiet, it is slow, it is lasting. And simple things are the doorway to that peace. But here is the challenge. Simple things are easy to ignore. They don't demand attention. They don't compete for your focus. So if you are not aware, you will miss them. And when you miss them, life begins to feel empty. Not because life is empty, but because your attention is elsewhere. So the key is not to change your life completely. The key is to change how you see your life, to slow down, to notice, to appreciate. Because the truth is simple. Happiness is not something you find at the end of the road. It is something you experience in the small steps along the way. Part 4. A story you may see yourself in. Let me tell you another story. This one might feel closer to your life. There was a woman who lived in a small apartment. Her life was not perfect. She didn't have a high-paying job. She didn't travel often. She didn't own many things. Every day she followed the same routine. Wake up early, go to work, come home, cook dinner, sleep, nothing special. And for a long time, she believed her life was boring. She often compared herself to others, people with better jobs, better houses, better lifestyles. And every time she compared, she felt a little less happy. One evening, after a long day, she came home feeling tired. She didn't turn on the TV. She didn't check her phone. She just sat by the window. Outside, the sky was slowly changing colors. Soft orange, fading into blue. The world was quiet. For the first time in a long while, she didn't rush. She just watched. A bird flew across the sky. The wind moved gently through the trees. A distant sound of laughter came from the street. Nothing extraordinary, but something inside her changed. She felt calm, not excited, not overwhelmed, just calm. And in that moment, she realized something. Her life was not empty. It was just unnoticed. All those days she called boring were actually peaceful. All those quiet evenings were moments she never gave value to. She didn't need a new life. She needed a new way of seeing. From that day on, nothing outside really changed. She still lived in the same apartment. She still had the same job. She still followed the same routine. But inside, everything felt different. She began to notice small things. The warmth of her morning tea, the sound of rain at night, the comfort of her own space. And slowly, her life felt richer. Not because she had more, but because she finally saw what she already had. This story is not about her. It is about all of us. How many times have you thought your life was not enough? How many times have you compared and felt something was missing. But maybe nothing is missing. Maybe you are just looking too far to see what is already close. Simple things don't change your life overnight, but they change how you experience your life. And that changes everything. Part 5. How to rediscover simple things. Knowing the value of simple things is not enough, because understanding is different from experiencing. You may agree with everything so far. You may feel it is true, but when the day begins, you go back to your routine. Busy, distracted, rushed, and once again, simple things disappear. So the real question is, how can we see them again? Not in theory, but in real life. Let's begin with something very simple. Slow down, not your entire life, just small moments. When you drink your morning coffee, don't rush. Feel the warmth. Notice the taste. Take one deep breath. It may sound small, but that is the point. Simple things are always small. Next, learn to be present. When you talk to someone, really listen. Not just waiting for your turn to speak. Not checking your phone. Just listen. Look into their eyes. Hear their words. You will be surprised. Even a short conversation can feel meaningful. Another way is to create space. Your life is full of noise, notifications, messages, endless information. So give yourself a few minutes of silence. No phone, no music, no distraction. Just sit. At first it may feel uncomfortable, but slowly you will begin to notice things. Your thoughts, your feelings, your surroundings. And in that space, simple moments begin to appear again. There's also something very powerful, but often forgotten. Gratitude. Not a big, dramatic gratitude, just a quiet awareness. At the end of the day, ask yourself one question. What simple thing did I experience today? Maybe it was a smile. Maybe it was a good meal. Maybe it was a peaceful moment. You don't need many. Just one is enough. Because when you notice one, you begin to notice more. And slowly, your perspective changes. Life does not become perfect, but it becomes fuller, richer, warmer. Here is something important to remember. You don't need to add anything new to your life. You don't need more money. You don't need a different environment. You only need awareness. Because simple things are already there, waiting, quietly, patiently. And once you start seeing them again, you will realize something beautiful. Life was never lacking. You were just moving too fast to see it. Part 6. When life becomes simple again. There is a moment in life that many people don't expect. It doesn't come with noise. It doesn't come with excitement. It comes quietly. A moment when you suddenly realize what truly matters. For some people, this moment comes after loss, after losing someone they love, after going through pain, after experiencing something they cannot control. And in those moments, everything becomes clear. The things they used to worry about no longer feel important. The things they used to chase no longer feel necessary. And what remains? Simple things. A voice they wish they could hear again. A moment they wish they could relive. A presence they once took for granted. Life has a way of teaching us. But sometimes the lesson comes late. That is why many people say, "I didn't know how valuable it was until it was gone." But what if you didn't have to wait for loss? What if you could understand it now, right here, right in this moment? Look at your life, not the big picture, not your future plans, just your present, the air you breathe, the people around you, the quiet moments you often ignore. This is your life, not someday, not later, now. And the truth is simple. The quality of your life is not decided by how much you have. It is decided by how deeply you experience what you already have. If you cannot find peace in simple things, you will not find it in complex ones. If you cannot appreciate small moments, big moments will never feel enough. Because peace is not something you achieve. It is something you allow. You allow it. When you stop chasing too much, you allow it. When you slow down, you allow it. When you finally see, simple things are not the beginning of life. They are the essence of it. They are what remain when everything else fades away. So maybe the goal is not to build a perfect life. Maybe the goal is to live a real one. A life where you can sit quietly and feel enough. A life where you don't need constant excitement to feel alive. A life where even the smallest moment can bring you peace. And when you reach that point, you will understand something deeply. Nothing was missing. Not from your life, not from your world, only from your attention. And now, before we end this story, I want you to pause for just a moment. Not for me, but for yourself. Take a slow breath and think about today. Not the big events, not the stressful moments, but the simple things. Was there a quiet moment that you almost ignored? A small smile that you didn't fully notice? A peaceful second that passed too quickly? Life is not only made of big milestones. It is made of these small, silent moments. And one day, when you look back, you may not remember every achievement, every success, every busy day, but you will remember how life felt. And most of that feeling comes from simple things. So maybe starting today, you don't need to change your whole life. You don't need to chase something bigger. Just slow down a little. Notice more a little. Appreciate more a little. Because sometimes a simple life is not a small life. It is a full one. If this story made you stop, even for a second, then it has done something meaningful. And if you want more stories like this, slow, clear, and easy to follow, to help you improve your English, while also understanding life a little deeper, then consider subscribing to this channel. Not because you have to, but because maybe this is the kind of space you need right now. A quiet place, a thoughtful place, a place where simple ideas still matter. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next story.